Hello, 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 and happy Tuesday to everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday. I am. It is raining here in the Pacific Northwest. Fall has begun. There's nothing we can do about it. It's come on. Sometimes we have like Indian summer, what's really nice during September, but this September, no, no, no. Fall's already here, and it's not even the 21st yet. So, we're enjoying gray skies and rainy weather. But what you gonna do? At least it's not cold and stuff. But I haven't seen everybody in a long time, and I'm seeing you all. After not seeing you for a while, I am happy and healthy and doing a bunch of stuff and having a good time and enjoying moments with my family and seeing about my mom after her knee surgery, which has gone fantastic. 10 times better than I thought it would. She's doing very well, and we're doing very well. And, just doing the regular thing, living life, and enjoying it while I'm living it. This just had my anniversary not too long ago, and that was wonderful. I got a wonderful, not these earrings, but a wonderful, beautiful set of sterling earrings from my husband, sterling silver earrings from my husband, and gave him a nice gift. And this weekend, I think we're headed out to have dinner, but not here. We're going to Portland, which, of course, as I've said before, has some of the most fantastic food and beer ever. And if you want to eat and you want to eat well, I suggest you don't sleep on Portland, Oregon. So we're going down there, just stay a night and have dinner and then come on back home and stuff. We do that sort of thing periodically and stuff, but just enjoying life and having a good time. Maybe I'll put up some of those pictures of what we've been doing, and stuff as the summer comes to an end. And as Married Girl comes to an end, I know, I know, I know. Don't be sad. Be glad it happened. I don't know how I'm really feeling about this. I'm not feeling particularly sad about it. Um, I'm kind of happy and excited to be doing something else and stuff and taking on another blog and new things in my life. And, hey, taking the time to actually be a married girl. I'm still a newlywed. Ta-da! I'm 2 years into a marriage, and I'm just realized, you know what? I'm still a newlywed. I'm still a newlywed. Um, and we're still, trying to get to know each other as husband and wife and enjoying this time together and stuff. And so I want to do that. I want to take some time. It's some frosty winters here, and it's nice to have someone to cuddle up to. And I'm not talking about frosty like snowy. I'm talking about cold and wet and stuff. But before I leave, I don't want to um, not finish my boundaries series. And I told you I'd do boundaries in marriage and stuff, and I may come back at some point and do boundaries in marriage, just kind of to do it, and stuff. But I don't want to miss the rest of my boundary series, and I don't want you to miss the rest of my boundary series. For most of you who have been following boundaries, this is Boundaries, and it's a wonderful book by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And I do mean absolutely fantastic for people who are trying to figure out what boundaries are, how to get some, what they're going to mean to you when you have them, how to defend them once you have them, and stuff. And I'm talking about healthy boundaries. I'm not talking about walls. I'm talking about fences. Because for most of us, either we have walls that don't let nobody in, good or bad, or we have nothing that just kind of lets everything in and lets everybody in, which is also not good and stuff. And I was reading Dr. Henry Cloud's uh, Twitter today. I follow him on Twitter, and he tweeted something that said, something about leadership. And he's been talking. He did a book about boundaries for leaders, and about leadership. And tough leaders get poor results, and kind leaders get poor results. He said, but tough and kind leaders get good results. And the same happens with parents and marriage and dating and stuff. There's a thing that you have to find balance with, and being tough and kind at the same time, to elicit things that you really want, from people. And, there's nothing wrong with having healthy boundaries with people. And I know people are sometimes resistant to this thought, especially people who've never had boundaries are resistant to this. And then people who have the really tough boundaries, who really are wondering, well, why, with all my boundaries, why am I not getting what I want? It's because you don't let good things in. You only keep everything out and stuff. And for people who have no boundaries, who really are having a hard time having the courage to do this, and stuff, and are probably going to meet a lot of resistance and stuff. This is for you. This is for you. I see a lot of people with boundaries, and I say it all the time, particularly Black women with such poor boundaries, and those things are usually from developed in childhood. People encourage you to have poor boundaries. People, family members, friends, communities encourage many Black women to have poor boundaries. And then we do the wall. Then many of us, either we have no boundaries and we're just letting everybody do anything to us and control us in any way, or we have these really wall boundaries and we're miserable because we won't let anything in, and stuff. We're trying to keep safe instead of letting good things into our life. And there is a thing of being tough and kind, and you actually eliciting things that you need and getting things that you need and keeping things away that you don't need and aren't to your benefit. And last time we talked about boundaries, I talked about guilt. And this time I'm going to talk about consequences and countermoves. And essentially, it's sort of a thing of control. And the story that's told, kind of the scenario that's given here to talk about consequences and countermoves, is between a son and father. Father is rather wealthy. Son has been depending on the father, like many kids do, their entire lives. You get out at 18, dad's still helping, he's still doing stuff. You're 20, they're still doing stuff. You're 25, they're still doing stuff. But as time goes on, what happens is they want to control you, or to get the benefit of the money or the influence or whatever it is that I have, power. You have to do what I need you to do. And after a while, as adults, as all adults should, you become comfortable with that situation. Adults don't want to be controlled. I don't care what anybody says. Adult people do not want to be controlled. We want to be free to do what it is that we think is best for us. And in many times with these sort of things where you're coming to a resistance to a boundary, where you start setting up boundaries with people who have been controlling you monetarily and things like that, of course, they get mad, they get angry, and then they start to take things away. They start to do less. Maybe sometimes they take away money. Sometimes they'll withdraw love. It happens. Um, and things. So it's talking about that. What happens is, you know, your support, this person's support for you financially, um, or that may start withdrawing. Love may start withdrawing. Family help may start withdrawing. Maybe your mom was babysitting your kids a lot, and when you don't let her control you, she stops babysitting the kids. Uh, maybe people, you know, start losing maybe business deals you were getting through family members and stuff because you've now set up boundaries. Um, you may actually lose a relationship altogether because you set up boundaries. And I want to warn people, as they talk about setting up boundaries and enforcing boundaries, that this might happen, that you might lose relationships with people who are used to you being compliant to them. They may start not to talk to you, and stuff. And, we're going to talk a little bit about that later on when we talk about our own personal resistance to boundaries. Um, so, what you need to first figure out is what you're getting for your lack of boundaries and what you lose for not setting boundaries. Those are the two things that you want to figure out first. When it comes to consequences and counter moves, when people start making you pay consequences, and when they do counter moves, when you do stuff, you set up boundaries, maybe people take their money away. What do you lose when you start setting boundaries? And what do you lose when you set no boundaries? And you know, in this case, the person lost money. For others, it may be a relationship. Some people are so controlling that if someone starts to stand up to them, they will not relate to them anymore. And it happens. Many people are cut off by the family they grew up in when they stop playing the family's dysfunctional games. Their parents or their friends will no longer speak to them. You face a risk in setting boundaries and gaining control of your life. And I want to be honest about this. This is risky. You face a risk, and you have to be ready to face it. In most instances, the results are not so drastic. For as soon as the person finds out that you're serious, they start to change. They find the limit setting to be something good for them. As Jesus says, you have won them, essentially won them over. The rebuke of a friend turns out to be good medicine for that friend. Good, honest people need discipline, and they respond, however reluctantly, to limits. Others have what psychologists call character disorders, and I've talked about this before. They don't want to take responsibility for their own actions and lives. And when their friends and spouses refuse to take responsibility for them, they just move on. And you may have people like that. Now, like I say, this is a drastic sort of thing. This may not happen. But I tell you what, I just saw something not too long ago, and I'm not going to kind of give you, where someone set some boundaries. And they thought that at first they thought that setting the boundaries would mean abandonment by the people they set the boundaries for. But what actually happened was that people changed their behavior. The thing that he wanted, or the person had wanted, he or she had wanted, which was a change in the people's behavior. And what they were trying to do was trying to appeal to the, goodness in human beings, which, I'm sorry, at our core, we're not. And what he was trying to prove, kind of, appeal to that, it wasn't working. And what happened when they appealed to that was the people were still resisting, and they were doing everything the people wanted, being compliant, hoping that the people would somehow, treat them better because they were compliant, but that didn't happen either. Um, what they kept tolerating from the people, that's what they kept giving them. You have to remember, people treat you in a way that you let them, and stuff. And it doesn't matter. It's not like all of a sudden human beings are going to think, oh, well, that's, I've been treating you wrong for so long, maybe I should stop. No, if you let me treat you wrong, I don't even realize that it's wrong, because you haven't even said it's wrong. To tell you the truth, people don't even realize it's wrong, because nobody said it was wrong. Nobody said, it's really wrong for you to treat me this way. They just think it's okay. And so they keep doing it. And this thing to try to appeal to what's best about human beings is probably not going to get you much of anywhere, you need to set some boundaries. So the person set some boundaries, and they hurt the people that they set them with, which was what's supposed to happen when you set boundaries. Somebody on the other end who has been boundaryless or boundary busting, with you, is supposed to feel some pain. And the thing about that pain is that I don't like this pain. I don't like this. I don't like that, this person has gone away. I don't like this. I don't like this. And what do I need to do to make sure that I can have a relationship with this person again? And because they set some boundaries and stuck to the boundaries and defended the boundaries with people, the people changed. And it was nice and wonderful to see, and stuff. You may have to defend boundaries again. It doesn't mean people are changing permanently. You may have to defend boundaries again. That's okay and stuff. But what the person who made the boundaries figured out was it works. It actually works. The thing that you've been wanting from the relationship, from the person that you weren't getting by being compliant, actually happens when you set boundaries. It works. And I'm not just telling you this, kind of tell you the truth. I'm telling you this as proof of what happens when you set healthy boundaries with people. It works. And, sometimes if people have character disorders, and in this case, none of these people had a character disorder, so they came around. But sometimes in the case of people having character disorders, they may move on. Now, there's really nothing you can do about that. That's not your problem. It's not your problem to get them straight, and it's not your problem to ease a relationship or to ease it over with them or make it better, you know. And in the case of consequences and counter moves, I'm one of my boundaries with people is that I don't take things from people who do owe me. And what I mean by owe me is if you take something from somebody and then they make you indebted for the rest of your life for taking it, I don't take things from selfish people because believe me, selfish people give stuff too. That's why they do the owe me thing, and stuff. Selfish people don't always keep things. Selfish people give people things, but they give them with conditions. I don't do that. If I find out you're a person that if you take something from you and stuff, even if you offer it, because lots of people offer stuff even without you asking, and then when you generously, when you take it, when you take their generosity, then they hold it over your head, and it's like, well, I didn't even ask you for that, and stuff. So those people I don't deal with. That's a boundary. I don't deal with those people. Um, I'm very hesitant to take money from people, and stuff. But there are people, yes, who the other week my mom gave me $50 just to give me $50, and stuff. And my mom is a generous, wonderful person, and she does not hold anything over your head. I'm more than happy to. I took it and I thanked her. And, I don't want to refuse blessings because I don't want her to miss out on a blessing because I refuse a blessing from her and I don't want to miss out on a blessing and stuff. And so we're generous back and forth. We have a reciprocal relationship. But I don't take stuff from people who are going to hold things over your head. I don't do that. That's something that I just try my best to stay away from because those sorts of people they're actually really selfish. Um, but they're trying to appear generous and stuff. And it's not okay. Now, if people offer me something, offer to take me out to dinner and stuff, I'm more than happy to, take them up on those things. I don't do false humility. I don't be, oh no, I don't listen, you know, you want to, hey, you'd like to go to lunch? Sure. I'll pay for it. Fine. And I don't mess with people who use people. I don't, I'm really generous. And if I feel like you're not generous in return, then I don't do that either. That's another boundary. Then I kind of stop dealing with you on those levels, and stuff. I don't want to be used, and I don't want to have things held over my head. So those are two things I have. But, you know, um, And talking about the rest of this for consequences and countermoves, when you count the costs of consequences, as difficult or as costly as they seem, they hardly compare to the loss of your very self. And you have to remember that when you're doing consequences and countermoves, when people are really super resistant and taking things away from you, like money and things that would normally help you to try to control you. Um, I'd rather lose that than lose who I am. And second, decide if you're willing to risk the loss. Is the cross you must pick up worth it for your very self? For some, the price is too high. They rather continue to give in to controlling parent or friend than to risk the relationship. Intervention specialists caution the family to think hard about whether they are ready to enforce the consequences they agreed on if an alcoholic doesn't get treatment. Boundaries without consequences are not boundaries. Remember that. Boundaries without consequences are not boundaries. You must decide if you are willing to enforce the consequences before you set the boundary. Third, be diligent about making up for what you have lost. In the case of the person whose parents was taking money, you had to find a plan, and you had to find a plan, a way to make more money. If your mom's gonna stop babysitting, you're gonna have to find and figure out a way to get another babysitter. If your parents are gonna take away financial support, then it's on you. You're gonna have to be responsible for it, and you need to make a plan about that. Others may need to find new childcare arrangements, make new friends, or learn to deal with the loneliness, and stuff. We're going to talk about that. Fourth, do it. There's no way of dealing with power moves of others and the consequences of our boundaries other than setting the boundaries and going through with your plan. When you have a plan, do like Peter. Get out of the boat. Make your way toward Jesus. Fix your eyes on Jesus, the author and protector of your faith. The first step will be the hardest. Go out and do it. Look for his help. Remember, he trains my hands for battle. My arms can bend a bow of bronze. Fifth, realize that the hard part is just beginning. Setting the limit is not the end of your battle. It is the beginning. Now it is time for you to go back to your people who support you in your boundaries and use them for spiritual nourishment so you can be able to get ready to stand. Keep working the program that's ready to set up your boundaries. Counter moves to your boundary setting are tough to battle, but God will be there to match your efforts as you work on your salvation. And I'm glad those words have been said. If you are a Christian and watching this and trying to figure out how to do boundaries, you need to know that first and foremost, God wants you to have boundaries. I cannot express enough how much God wants you to have boundaries to do the things that you need to do. Because if you don't have healthy boundaries, then you can't do what it is that God has planned for your life. You can't. You just can't. Because you're so busy trying to make everybody else happy. You don't even have time to do anything to please God. You just don't. And you need his strength to be able to deal with some of the stuff that's going to happen, because the rest of these people don't know nothing about boundaries. They don't know nothing about doing things in a healthy way. They don't know anything about that. So you're going to need some strength, and more strength than you got, you know, that you got, by yourself, or that you've been trained to have as a person, you know, and stuff, especially for people who are boundary less and who have no boundaries. It takes strength also to let your walls down and to start not having walls and to set up a fence and let good things in. That takes strength. And you're going to need those. And you're going to need also, God to help you discern to figure out what's good and what's bad. What's good? What's good coming into your life? And what's the bad you're supposed to keep out? You're going to need it. Um, it's coming up on a lot of things here, and next couple of days I'll be talking about these. So I got to get this done. But next couple of days we'll be talking about physical resistance, the pain of others, blamers, and real needs, and forgiveness and reconciliation. and stuff, with people that who were boundaryless, and now, you know, maybe they're figuring out, somebody's got boundaries, and I have to honor those and stuff. And how do you have forgiveness and reconciliation with those folks? And then we're going to talk about internal resistances, not just, resistance to boundaries, but your own personal resistance as a person to boundaries, because that's something that has to be discussed also. I'm loving doing this, and I'm just so happy that you joined me. And my hope is that you get some sort of blessing from this, that it helps you in some sort of way to figure out, uh, you know, what it is you need regarding your own boundaries. This is a long series. At the end of the series, I will probably have all of the different vlogs that I did, because this is a long series I did about boundaries. And but I'm not unhappy I did it. And and if more than just listening to me, I suggest you buy this book and you read the book, um, and you get the wonderful knowledge and the tips and the things you need out of it, to be able to start to set your own boundaries, or sure, healthy boundaries that you already have, or figuring out what boundaries are and all that good stuff. Um, it helps. It makes life, woo, I'm telling you, it makes life so much easier. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a really good rest of the day. I will talk to you all later, and probably see you on tomorrow or Thursday. So talk to you later. Bye bye.